Welcome to Tangi's Tapestry, where spirituality, law, motherhood, and relationships weave into a rich and meaningful discussion. I'm your host, Tangi, a mother, daughter, sister, friend, and an avid entrepreneur. Join me as I share my personal journey, explore faith-based discussions, and offer valuable legal insights. Each episode is designed to inspire, empower, and connect with individuals on their unique path. So let's dive into today's topic and embark on this journey together. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Tangi's Tapestry, where life's threads of personal growth, faith, and legal empowerment are beautifully woven together. I'm your host, Tangi, and I am excited that you have joined me for episode number 2. And you guys, obviously you don't see me on camera because I just did not feel like being on camera. So I did an audio episode and I'm going to keep it sweet and short and to the point, okay? So, sometimes when this whole podcast journey, there's a lot of ups and downs that come with it. And so, not saying it's a bad thing or anything, but sometimes I just don't like being on the camera, if I'm being honest. And so, this episode, I'm going to be talking about estate planning basics. I'm going to share with you 5 key steps to creating a will and why I think it's important, especially if you have minor children. Also, remember that when I provide these informational episodes with legal information, it is just that. It's general information only, no legal advice. I'm not creating any type of attorney-client privilege with you. Just want to drop a little knowledge. And so if you do require specific legal advice, then I highly suggest you reach out to a licensed attorney in your state. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into today's topic, estate planning basics, 5 steps to creating a will. And I also, if you've been following me for a little bit on my podcast journey, I like to start off with a scripture reference for the topic of the day. And so I'd like to highlight Proverbs 13:22 as my go-to scripture for this topic, which is, a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. That's in Proverbs 13:22. And, you might want to ask yourself, am I a good person? Am I leaving an inheritance to my children? This verse reminds us the importance of planning ahead and also creating a legacy that not only protects but provides for our family. So let's go ahead and jump right on into these 5 key steps to creating a will. Now, these are my 5 key steps that I think are important. There may be other steps that might be important to someone else, but for me, these are the ones that I want to share with you. And I've mentioned before in, I believe, season 1, how estate planning is essential for everybody. So if you're an adult, whether you're single, married, divorced, you have children, you don't have children, you might want to consider having a will in place, or some, any kind of estate planning documents, power of attorneys, wills, trusts, whatever it might be. You want to have something in place that just tells people where you want your stuff to go. And not just having a will is important, but any kind of estate planning documents are important because it ensures that your wishes, whatever they may be, medical wishes, financial wishes, property wishes, whatever that might be, having these documents are going to ensure that your wishes are carried out and that it provides some type of security and safety for your family. So especially with things that are going on with today's society, a lot of my immigrant clients really should be considering some type of estate planning documents just to protect their interests. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into step number one. Okay, so step number one is determine what you own. You want to first start off by making a list of all of your assets. These are things like real estate, bank accounts, investments, personal belongings, sentimental items, digital assets. You know, we live in a technology driven society where everything is in digital form, or mostly a lot of stuff's in digital form nowadays. So you want to make sure you list out that kinds of stuff. And you want to make sure that you actually own whatever you're listing. So you're if you have a joint ownership of something and you own it with somebody else, that might not be something that you're going to include in your will, because you don't solely own it by yourself. So, but again, you would want to talk with an attorney to kind of figure out some of the things that you're listing, just to make sure that you actually own it. So that is the first step, is to determine what you own. And this is going to help you identify what you'll be passing down to your loved ones. Step number two is you want to choose a guardian for your minor children. Now, this is really important because, selecting a guardian is probably one of the most essential decisions you're going to make as a parent in the event that something happens to you, whether you pass away or you become incapacitated. Now, if you're adding guardianships in the will, you also want to make sure you're adding documents to your estate plan that specify who those guardians are outside of the will, in the event that you just become incapacitated and you don't just pass away. And so those are things like power of attorneys and standby guardianship forms. Depending on what jurisdiction you live in, they have those type of forms. But selecting a guardian is an essential part of your drafting of a will. And this is going to be the person who's going to take care of your child or children if you're no longer able to do so. So you want to think about someone who shares your values, who's prepared for the responsibility. So you don't want to pick somebody who doesn't like children, who doesn't want to have any kind of kids in their life. You want to just make sure it's somebody who's reliable, responsible, and can actually take care of your children in the event that you're unable to do so. The step number 3 is appointing an executor, or also known as a personal representative. So this is going to be someone who ensures that your will is followed after you pass away. So you want to choose somebody you trust, somebody who's organized and reliable, because they're going to be responsible for certain tasks like settling your debts, distributing your assets, ensuring everything is done according to your wishes. So you want to make sure this is somebody can do this particular job or role in your estate plan. Step number 4 is you want to now outline how your assets will be distributed. So you made your list of all of your assets. Now you want to get specific about who gets what. So it could be your money, your property, sentimental items, who has access to your digital accounts. And if you have minor children, you might even want to consider setting up a trust to manage their inheritance until they're old enough to handle it responsibly. So like, I have a 10-year-old, and I would not leave, $50,000 to my 10-year-old daughter, because guess where she's going to want to spend that money, although she probably wouldn't even be able to have access to it because she's a minor, and they would probably have to appoint somebody to deal with all of that, which goes back to appointing a guardian. But young children are not responsible enough to handle large sums of money, and they may want to spend stuff on like Roblox or toys or whatever. And if you have even adult children who are like 18, 19, you probably wouldn't want to leave them a lump sum of large amounts of money because they may not know how to manage it. So setting up a trust might be another tool that you could use in your estate plan. And so that's just something to consider. And then step number 5 is formalize your will with an attorney. Now, hear me out. I understand, the cost of representation in the legal community can be a little up there depending on the attorney that select. However, there are some of these DIY do-it-yourself options, and I will say that although those options exist, working with an attorney ensures that your will actually meets all of the legal requirements and that it reflects your wishes accurately. So you could be using a DIY option, do it yourself, legal form or whatever that you get offline, but it could be missing some of the formalities that you might need, and it might not have all of the right stuff in it that makes sure that your wishes are properly what's the word I'm looking for, that your wishes are not properly accounted for, okay, in that form. So it's just really important, especially if you have minor children or you have a complex estate. You definitely might not want to use a do-it-yourself form. You might really want to consider just getting some kind of legal representation or advice or whatever. And so those are the 5 steps that I think are important. Determine what you own, choose a guardian for your minor children, appoint a personal representative, outline how your assets will be distributed, and then formalize your will with an attorney if you're able to do so. Now, why I find it to be crucial for parents, specifically with minor children, to consider, drafting a will, is because imagine this. If you were to die without a will, guess who's going to decide what happens to all of the stuff you have, down to the shoes you own, okay? Just everything. The court's going to decide how your assets are distributed, and if you have minor children, they're going to get to decide who is going to be caring for your children. So if there's somebody that you specifically do not want to have access to your children, you might want to consider having a will in place, or even some type of document outside of your will to designate who that guardianship should be in the event that you become incapacitated, or you pass away, or you're just unable to care for your children. Like, I think about a lot of the situation that's going on now with a lot of the immigrants, and if you were to get detained or deported, who would take care of your children? You want to put something in place to prevent these issues, because what can happen when you don't have proper estate planning in place is that it can lead to delays, disputes, stress for your loved ones, and a whole multitude of things, right? So by taking the time to create a will or any type of estate planning documents, you're providing clarity, you're giving peace of mind, you're offering security and protection for your loved ones. And so that's really important. And so what can you do? Well, you can take the first step today. If you haven't had an opportunity to, create a will yet, I would highly suggest that you consider reaching out to an estate planning attorney to start the process, and maybe a estate planning attorney that's in your state, obviously. If you are a resident of Maryland or DC, I'd love to help you navigate this important journey. So you can reach out to me directly, and we can try to work together to make sure that your family is properly secured for their future and for yours as well. So, that's pretty much it for today's episode. I do thank you for tuning into Tangi's Tapestry. And if you found this episode, to be helpful, I wouldn't mind if you shared it with someone who you think might need it. And then make sure to tune back in next month on I believe the 10th and the 24th. So the second Monday and the fourth Monday of February, I'm going to be focusing on some more personal, bold conversations about relationships, marriage, dating, love, because it's February, right? It's the month of love. It's Valentine's Day. You got people out here single, maybe not mingling, or wanting to date again, or you're, um, desiring marriage, whatever that may be. I have, hopefully, I have some special guest speakers coming on in the month of February. And so I would love for you to tune in next month for those, conversations. It'll be some girl chat maybe about dating and some like I said, I hope to have a married couple on, working all that out. Y'all know this podcast journey has not been for it's not for the faint of heart, okay? It's an uphill battle sometimes, but it's all worth it. So until then, take care, keep weaving your beautiful tapestry of life, and I will see you on the next episode of Tangi's Tapestry. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Tangi's Tapestry. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Monday, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more heartfelt discussions, personal stories, and valuable legal insight. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your family, friends, and followers. Your support means the world to me as I strive to create meaningful content that inspires and empowers. Well, until next time, take care and remember to weave your own unique story into the tapestry of life. See you on the next episode of Tangi's Tapestry.